Hello everyone, welcome to the Scumdog's Kennel. I'm your host, Chris Williams, and in today's Cryptid Corner mini-episode, I have more UFO stories, folks. Both accounts are very strange. The first account involves a luminous UFO, and the second, a farmhouse in Missouri as a visit from an extraterrestrial presence. Let's get into the first article. Twisting luminous spiral UFO reported over Long Beach, California, confirms SpaceX launch. Let's get into this article now and hear exactly what took place. On the evening of February 13th, 2026, a couple standing on a fourth floor balcony in downtown Long Beach, California, observed an aerial phenomena that defied easy explanation. What first appeared to be a bright moon, partially obscured by thin cloud, quickly transformed into something far stranger, a twisting spiral of vapor leaned directly into an intense white light. Within minutes, the object vanished completely, leaving behind more questions than answers. Let's read further, folks, and hear exactly what was witnessed. The witness stated that he and his fiancée were standing on the balcony of his condominium in downtown Long Beach on the evening of Saturday, February 14th, when they noticed something unusual in the sky. From their vantage point on the fourth floor, they observed what appeared to be a spiraling contrail twisting upward into an extremely bright light. At first, they considered the possibility that the light was the full moon, partially obscured by thin cloud cover. However, the spiral formation seemed to connect directly to the light in a way that made no natural sense. They could not reconcile how a looping contrail formation would terminate in what appeared to be a full moon. Indeed, folks, that's strange. And this is the first time I've heard about this sort of, UFO, folks, but apparently, as we read further, we'll learn that basically other people in of California have also heard about this sort of phenomena, folks. So I'm kind of, messing my words up there, folks, because this is the first time I've heard about it, but yet other people have basically seen these things. So let's read on. The couple watched the phenomena for several minutes. There was no audible sound associated with it. The light was far brighter than any aircraft they had ever seen and remained stationary during their observation. After approximately 15 minutes inside the condo for dinner, they returned to the balcony and discovered that the spiral formation and the bright light had completely disappeared. Later that evening, they checked online lunar charts and confirmed there was no full moon that night. The witness attempted to share photographs of the object, but was unable to upload them at the time of submission. So, what they saw was not the moon, apparently, but at first they basically thought it was. But this UFO and the phenomena with it, this spiral arm or extension of the UFO, is very strange, folks. But apparently, as I said before, other people have seen this phenomenon in California before. Do you think it could be related to the government, folks? Maybe it's some project the government is, developing there. We've heard before that some UFOs have been, most likely been identified as, the aircraft from black budget projects that the Air Force is doing. Either way, here's an update. February 14th, SpaceX launched the Starlink 1713 mission, 24 satellites at 5:59 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I informed the witness, so at least the witness got maybe an answer for what he saw, folks. Either way, there's also a note. Reports of spiral sky anomalies over Southern California continue to surface periodically, particularly along the Long Beach and Los Angeles coastline, whether linked to aerospace activity or unexplained atmospheric phenomena. These cases contribute to an ongoing pattern of luminous aerial manifestations observed along the Pacific Corridor. So this phenomena could have been attributed to rocket plume spiral, an effect that happens with high-altitude rockets, maybe thanks to SpaceX, perhaps. But then again, this area in California has also been host to this kind of a weird phenomena before, folks, like the Battle of Los Angeles that took place in 1942, with basically the Army attacking some weird phenomena in the sky. So very interesting, folks. But we'll talk more about that later. Either way, let's get into the next article. Missouri farmhouse UFO abduction featuring deceased grandmother's apparition and a purple ornate craft. Let's hear how perhaps this grandmother or her form was used by alien beings to infiltrate this family's home. During a summer visit to rural Missouri between 7th and 8th grade, a young teen experienced an encounter that began with the apparition of a recently deceased grandmother and escalated into what appears to be a full family abduction event. Now, 42 years old, the witness still recalls vivid details of a purple, gold-trimmed craft hovering above a farmhouse and multiple non-human entities. What began at a bedroom window ended with a missing time and a bed inexplicably moved across the room. Let's read the actual account now. The witness states that the encounter occurred while spending the summer in Missouri with an extended family, including a grandmother, aunt, and uncle, and, cousins. He had fallen asleep in his cousin's bedroom when he suddenly sensed something at the window. Upon opening his eyes, he saw what appeared to be his recently deceased maternal grandmother standing there. I would have to say, folks, if you'd, experienced that, you'd probably be completely out of your head with fear. That sounds like the kind of thing that would do that to you, folks. But let's continue. She appeared translucent, visibly haggard, and disheveled. Her demeanor felt negative or disturbed. Without speaking, she floated out of the room. The witness followed her down the hallway in what he describes as a trance-like state. At the end of the hallway stood a second entity. He describes it as resembling the fictional character Roger from the animated series American Dad, but with solid black eyes. This being was shorter than the witness, who was approximately 5 feet 6 at the time, and had grayish-tan coloration. The entity exited through the door. Still in a trance, the witness followed, and outside, hovering roughly 50 feet above the ground, was a large disc-shaped craft. The farmhouse had neighbors nearby, making the presence of such a massive object seem implausible. The craft was purple with ornate gold trim. The witness distinctly recalls being surprised by how decorative and elaborate it appeared. Well, that is odd, folks. Like basically with the first story with the spiral UFO, this UFO was more ordinary than in other accounts. But let's continue. He does not remember boarding the craft. His next memory places him inside a rectangular room illuminated in purple light. The walls were paneled and emitted a glow similar to black light. Present in the room were his aunt and both cousins. All appeared to be standing calmly. One cousin remarked that they had been abducted by aliens. The aunt pulled the witness aside and insisted the beings were angels. Soon after, he observed his uncle positioned on a tilted examination table. 3 taller, thinner, tan-colored beings were working on him. The witness could not see the details clearly from I imagine from that distance. Because it might have been basically in the same room, but he was basically off to the side or basically a little further away. So he could not, examine exactly what these things were doing to his uncle, folks. I can only imagine how fearful this was. But it sounds like both he and his aunt and cousins were almost sedated with basically calm, folks. Like basically it had been projected into them, perhaps. But we can discuss that point like we will discuss the other points a little later, folks. Let's finish off this article now. His next memory shifts again. He is lying flat on his back, looking upward at 3 beings. Their facial features are obscured by intense light, but their heads are rounded and smooth, reminiscent of a masked or featureless dome shape. The brightness prevented clear identification. The final memory is waking up in bed again. However, the bed itself had been moved across the room and placed against the window. He was still in it. Now, I read a little more that maybe bed was moved due to some sort of telekinetic activity, or maybe it was the aliens here, who I suspect were basically testing maybe some emotional aspects of the people here, folks. But then again, it sounds like they were basically very calm, as if they were sedated, folks. But with basically the odd effects with the grandmother showing up, this apparition literally flowing through the, house here, folks, leading basically our witness or experiencer to this alien he describes looking like Roger from American Dad. It seems like a lure that lead him to these beings, folks. And from also the way the family acted, folks, with the aunt saying that these beings were angels, that either she was coping with this heavily, or maybe she and the rest of her family are repeat abductees, and she came to basically associate these beings with angels so her mind could basically deal with it. It's just my thinking here, folks. Either way, like with the first story, we have no real idea what this spiral UFO is, or with this ornate purple one, but they are certainly strange. But now we're at the end, so please go subscribe to my YouTube channel. Read comics, they're bad for you. You can use the YouTube link down below in the description of the chat to go subscribe me. Hit that like button for me. Make sure you're still subscribed. Leave some comments down below. Hit that bell for notifications. Make sure to hit the part of the bell that'll give you all future notifications, and please share this video out. I'm Chris Williams from the Scumdogs Kennel. Thank you all for joining me. I'll be back again tomorrow with another great video, so be sure to come back again then. Till next time, folks, I'll see you all again soon.